Cool. Welcome to our first podcast. Welcome to Spitballing Experts. We love spitballing. We love to have random conversations about faith, life, leadership. We try to sound very intelligent.
We're not. We are not.
My name is Dirk. I am 27 years old. Man, I'm old. Is that old? I don't know. Anyway, so I live in Switzerland. I am a South African citizen. Which is pretty cool, being a South African citizen in the world. I don't know.
You're kind of both. I think you're like a Swiss South African or South African Swiss. I don't know. I don't know if you can even call it Swiss. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm white enough to be Swiss. I mean,
fair enough.
Yeah, and anyway, so yeah, maybe Arnold, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Arnold. I'm actually a South African living in South Africa, currently in Centurion. And Dirk and I know each other from, I don't know, grade 8. That's like 2000 and something, I don't know. But we've known each other very long. So yeah.
So we just want to, reason for our podcast is we just think that conversation, or having the art of conversation, is so important. Having a discourse about stuff is really something that got lost, I think, in our time. And we just feel like it would be really cool to just talk about life, church, random topics, maybe politics. I don't know if politics.
So basically the stuff we're passionate about, especially
Yes.
church and life and a little politics.
So you're really passionate about life.
Yes,
I
think.
It's good. Are you passionate? Are you as passionate as a real, like, mega church? You know, like really massively. Oh my goodness, welcome church. Are you like one of those guys, or
pulling out that hole where you take the word church and you spread it across your whole congregation? It's like welcome to church.
Exactly.
Like that, or
exactly,
just like welcome to church.
Yeah.
I honestly think I'm more the welcome to church kind of guy.
Okay.
Instead of like taking that whole word and spreading it like jam on a piece of toast. Just too much.
Cool. So what Arnold, what is the one thing that you can expect from us on this channel?
I think definitely the one thing is a lot of honest conversation. And a lot of open conversation about stuff currently going on, not just in life, but in church. I think that's pretty much summed up. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think honest conversation, and just a different point of view. I think whether we agree or not, I think we can still find a consensus and still have a positive way of looking at conversations, not just trying to have the same mindset of stuff. I think we learn the best when we think differently, and when we also allow people who think about life differently, or think about church differently, or just think about politics for that matter differently. I think it is so important to have that type of discourse. So, and I think some randomness, I think that is one thing that has defined our friendship for so long. So yeah, let's I think that is one of the things that and maybe some weird accents.
Yes, I think definitely this whole thing of like a South African who's actually Afrikaans, who's trying to talk English, it's getting interesting. And then you have you that's staying in Switzerland, a South African staying in Switzerland, speaking Swiss German.
No, I don't speak Swiss German. I just speak German.
Okay, you speak German. You see already.
Well, I try to speak German. I think.
I've listened to one of your sermons, or at least I tried for 10 seconds. But I've listened to one of your sermons, and you're not doing too bad. You know, from someone who can't speak German, you're not doing too bad. So
thank you. That is it's really nice of you. So, great. Thank you. So I think that is one of the things that you can expect from us. Just having fun. I think maybe we take deep conversations and we also make light of it. But yeah, we'll definitely try to stick to some form of structure and not get sidetracked too much.
Yeah. But I think that what you just said is very important, because the way that people tend to think about stuff, and the way that people tend to take one little situation and just blow it up without the correct knowledge of it, or without actually sitting and thinking about it, I think that can make a situation just turn 180 degrees and just kind of go in a different direction. And I mean, just this morning, my wife and I had a conversation about, how everyone's going on, this is the end times, it's gonna, beware of the chip and all of that. And we busy reading through 1 John, and in the start it says, I think it is in chapter 2, it says, it speaks on this whole ideal of the Antichrist, and it keeps on talking about this. And we start this conversation, and Karen, you can hear how this topic has been brutalized, if I can use that word, through society, because we tend not to have the correct info on this topic. And I think that is maybe something in this podcast that can come out. It's just sometimes just sitting, having a discussion, getting the facts out without getting worried or stressed and overthinking the thing.
Exactly. I think a guy we need to get up here is our dogmatics teacher. Man, I miss that guy. Just to have a chat about the end times. A friend of mine talking about that. A friend of mine Googled end times in church in Corona time. I don't know what he really Googled, but the first thing came up. It basically was end times and Corona, and the first thing that popped up was just woof, a massive amount of stuff about the Antichrist and the end times, and why we are now heading towards oblivion.
Well, I saw yesterday
on scary time, actually. It's just ridiculous.
It is. I saw yesterday how someone posted an article on social media about how the government is busy lying to us about what they're actually doing for the coronavirus and all of that. But then he goes on into this article saying how the church is busy lying about the coronavirus. I'm just like, what has the church got to lie about in this time? Honestly,
who's the church?
Exactly. So if he's kind of equating that to some organization, I get it, because some organizations will lie to you for their own benefit. I mean, just look at, I know here in South Africa, we get a bunch of people or a bunch of organizations that were just sued and slapped with this massive fine because they pushed up the price of face masks and hand sanitizer and all of that. And these guys kind of went about saying, no, that's the standard price. That's fine. I mean, there's this one organization who took the price of hand sanitizer that was like 50 Rand a bottle, and he shot it up during lockdown to 500 Rand a bottle. I mean,
look, listen, I think there's people that are panicking and people that are making money, and then there are just people that are trying to rip someone off. I mean, that is nothing new. But I think it spoke into the fear of people, like, oh my goodness, I can die.
That the reality sets in, like, I'm not going to be here forever. Reality sets in of what am I actually busy doing with my life.
And I think Louis Giglio really summed it up the best in one of his sermons, where he called life a dash. It's like this and it's gone. And I think Corona just spoke into that we realized, hey, I can die, and I'm not a being that is gonna live forever.
But I think speaking of Giglio, I mean, you obviously listened to that sermon, that 20 inches to mercy, or 20 inches of mercy.
Yeah.
I mean, just that whole sermon is kind of, and I want to get your opinion on it, but I think that whole sermon is obviously it's founded on 2 Chronicles 7. And do you remember when the lockdown all over the world kind of just started? People started quoting this, and they were like, yeah, listen, all you heathens, turn away from your bad ways, and then God will finally bless us. And I'm just like, okay, cool. That's what it's kind of in scripture, it stands there. But within the correct context, this is, as Giglio says, this is a spiritual awakening that's going to happen. Is people will start to realize, listen, we need to pray. We need to humble ourselves. And by humbling, it doesn't mean you push yourself down into the ground. It means you're just saying, I need God. That's all. I need Christ.
Yeah, and I think, I, I mean, this is probably one of the reasons why we are starting this. Is I just realized there's so much junk out there about just the Bible in general, just the lack of knowledge. People quoting stuff where I think, man, the context is terrible. I think I sent you a message on one of the things where people were just also using a Bible verse, and it's like, yeah. But also I realized people maybe do not understand the gospel. Now we are running in 10 million different directions, and the core of everything. I mean, even the apocalyptic stuff is founded in the gospel. It's not like John sat down and was like, okay, this is going to happen regardless of what the gospel is doing. I mean, that vision is built upon the foundation of the gospel.
Exactly.
Where I feel just people are misusing it, and I think that's, look, when it comes to Giglio, I'm a little biased. So I love the guy. I think what he's doing is amazing. But yeah, I think it's correct. We need to rethink our strategy as a church, as just people in general who love Jesus. But yeah, I'm excited. I think a lot of cool stuff is going to happen in the next time after Corona.
I think this is one of those moments we're currently in, where if we take a look at this whole crisis, if we take a look at this pandemic, and just putting it in the view of the church, let's just put it in the view of what we know. We put it in the view of church, and we look at it through the eyes of church, and this is something that is going to open up, or it's going to break down the entire view of church. And it's not, I want to say it's not a bad thing, because this is going to enable the church as the body of Christ to start to stand up. And we as the local ministry, we as the church, we as the people that come together, we as the, if I can use the term organization, kind of, the place where we have congregation on a Sunday or whatever it is, we will, as you say, we will have to rethink the way in which we do church. Because let's be honest, I know for myself, beginning of the year, you put down goals, you put down stuff you want to get right for your ministry, and you say, okay, cool, so I want to, at the end of the year, I want to have at least 20 new life groups or whatever it is. And then you're just like, okay, we'll work on it, like gradually, we'll build it up. And then by the end of the year, we'll have our 20. When Corona hit and the lockdown started here in South Africa, that 20 suddenly became a reality, because then we kind of just had to push that and get people into groups, because we knew that is what was needed. And I think this whole crisis kind of showed the church we are capable of much more than we think, because then a year plan got pushed into a month, and we achieved it in a month, for example.
And I think this is definitely a topic we'll touch on next week, because it's so exciting to think about it, and I think that we need to also a little bit look at it critical. What is this actually? This not just Corona. What the church what the church offers at the moment. What needs to change? What can stay the same? I think thinking around stuff like that it's going to be cool.
I agree.
And maybe we can get a friend in or something to also chat with us.
No, definitely.
But yeah, I think this is the stuff that really excites us, and I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to our conversations. So how do you see the next couple of weeks developing for you guys in South Africa? Just a quick question on Corona, if we can move.
Well, honestly, I think just in my personal view, we actually, today is the last day of the level 5 of our lockdown. So we're going to a level 4 from tomorrow.
What does that mean? Level 5
and
4?
Basically, what that means is level 5 is total lockdown. So that is only a few stores are open for essentials, and you're not allowed to train outside, go for a run, go cycling, whatever that is. You're not allowed to buy cigarettes or alcohol or go to a restaurant or stuff like that. And obviously in South Africa, that is a major thing. I mean,
the cigarettes must be terrible.
And that is actually, this morning I woke up and I just scrolled through Facebook, and when the president announced the new level coming in, he said the sale of cigarettes will obviously open up again, because that's a major contributor to the economy within South Africa. And when I woke up this morning, they reversed it by saying, if I read it correctly, they reversed it by saying we're not allowed to sell cigarettes or whatever the case is. And people went crazy because suddenly they're concerned about the addiction that it causes. Suddenly they're concerned about the withdrawal, stuff like that.
Oh, suddenly, I mean, is it? But so at the moment you cannot buy any cigarettes in South Africa.
Nothing. No, for the past lockdown, nothing was available. No alcohol was available. No restaurants were available. And with the level 4 coming in, most of that stuff is being lifted. Like some of the restaurants will open, but only for like takeaways or stuff like that. And we'll be able to exercise outside, which I'm very thankful for. So I can actually go for a run, and my wife can go cycling, and that type of stuff. But I think that in the next few weeks, we're going to see how a lot of people are going to get frustrated, and they're going to show it a lot more. And not just those who smoke, or not just those who are craving alcohol or whatever it is, but on the plus side, I think even for businesses, it's going to open up a whole new way of thinking creatively about business. It already has. I mean, I know a bunch of people that they were in a very specific industry, and suddenly they just shifted over to what was needed and what is essential to people around them. But I think also once this lockdown is gradually being lifted over the next few months, that is going to happen a lot more. You know, people are going to get a lot more creative over the next few weeks. People are going to get, I want to say, a lot closer to their families, which is a great plus point. And I think people will start to, I know this will probably sound very bad, but I think we're going to get a lot more appreciative of what we have. And actually,
I don't think that's bad. I think that's brilliant. So I think people here, they love the freedom. All of a sudden, a lot of the schedule just shrunk, and all of a sudden you don't need all this jargon we fill ourselves with. So I think that is already a positive. I think there's a lot of positives coming out of Corona. I also realized we need to start focusing on the positives, because there's so much negativity around all of this. Government's not taking the right decisions. I mean, what is the right decision in a thing like this? It's crazy. But yeah, I think there's a lot of just people that I spoke to. Hey, they have time. They can spend, families having time together. Just like, okay, let's hang out. Let's hear out how we are doing. That's brilliant. I think that is a. But
I think even more than that. Yesterday, I just realized again. I was reminded of
Afrikaans there. The Afrikaans structure comes in.
That's what we promised. I was reminded yesterday about just this whole time that we're in, about the provision of Christ in this time. Because I think there's a lot of people that are under this whole strain of struggling financially, about their businesses not opening up, about them not being able to work, and the debt is just increasing and increasing. And I mean, that is something that I'm struggling on, I'm struggling with that, seeing how people will get up from this. And yesterday we were again reminded about how just in South Africa, I think it's something like 25% of the country's economy won't make it because of this. And there's a lot of people that are going to suffer under this. And a lot of people are going to start blaming government, obviously. But I think sometimes we need to realize that two things. Number one, the government isn't a perfect institution. I mean, the South African context, we know that.
Amen, brother.
We've heard that. We've lived that. But more than that, I think we need to shift our focus away from government. And we need to shift our focus back to the way of, listen, who is your source every single day?
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday I got a message. Now, I'm in youth ministry, you know that, but I got a message from one of the teenagers, and we were fasting yesterday, and I got a message back from him saying this one little thing happened in his life where he was just reminded again of how God's provision is coming into his life, and that one little thing was basically just someone told him about what fasting is, and he started doing it, and he just kind of found more of Christ in his life. He just found something of the revelation of Christ in his life, and just realizing that, listen, God is my source in this season, and I don't have to be dependent on those around me for provision. God will provide in ways that I don't even know. And I think that is definitely something that I'm praying for over the next couple of weeks that will happen.
I think, and this is one thing, and I think this is a great place to also leave this conversation.
Yes.
I think maybe the adults can learn a lot from teenagers.
Definitely.
In the just the openness to spiritual truths, to the revelation of Jesus in their lives, figuring stuff out. I think what you said is so true. What is our source? Who is our source?
Exactly.
That
honestly,
the Lord's Prayer.
Exactly.
Sorry, I just quickly want to finish my
yes.
thought. The Lord's Prayer of, hey, He will provide for us, give us our daily bread, and now we are in that situation. It's scary, but also I think that is where faith really starts blossoming.
No, definitely.
Sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah. No. What I just wanted to say was, I think that goes back to what we said at the beginning of the podcast, was we need to change the way we think. And that is the whole Romans 12:2 scripture, where he's starting to speak of, listen, you have to be transformed, obviously, by the way that you think, by renewing your mind. But I love what the Passion Translation speaks of, because he says you have to be transformed inwardly by the Holy Spirit. So the transformation that's going to happen isn't from what we just perceive from the outside in, but it's something of a revelation from what's happening in your heart. And we know that is where God works with us. We know that is where Christ kind of meets us. And that happens outwardly. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, be renewed. Yeah, be changed by the renewal of your mind.
yes.
Hey, so cool. I'm looking forward to our chats and our conversations. So next week we'll definitely start talking about church in post-Corona time. Spitball around ideas what we can do there and how we can impact the world we are living in, and or just hang out in the world we are living in. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll
see what happens.
We'll see where the Lord leads us. So yeah, hey, cool. Then we wish all of you guys that listen to us a beautiful day, and have a wonderful week. Cheers, guys.
Bye.